The Tennessee Medical Licensing Board was threatened to the point where it finally decided to delete a policy opposing coronavirus misinformation from its website. This followed a powerful conservative lawmaker threatening them. I'll give you those details in just a second. But the policy, unanimously adopted by the Board of Medical Examiners in September, establishes that doctors who spread demonstrably untrue information about COVID-19 vaccines could have their licenses suspended or potentially revoked.
Seems reasonable.
That is the most rational policy imaginable. You want to ensure that during a global pandemic where hundreds of thousands of Americans have already died, you prevent the spread of misinformation. But not so fast. There are quite a few of right-wingers in this country who would love to continue disseminating false information and want to protect that. So members voted 7-3, by the way, to delete, but not rescind the policy. The policy, unanimously adopted by the Board of Medical Examiners in September, establishes that doctors who spread demonstrably untrue information about COVID-19 vaccines could have their licenses suspended or potentially revoked. Now, members voted 7-3 to delete, but not rescind the policy. I just want to really emphasize that. What does that mean?
I've been wondering.
So the board claims, yeah, I mean, we deleted it from the website, but it doesn't mean the policy just goes away. We didn't rescind it, the policy still exists. Except the individual who threatened them over that policy says, no, deleting it from the website means that it has been rescinded. I'll get back to that in just a second. Now, who's the person who threatened them? Well, it is a lawmaker, a conservative lawmaker, who apparently loves the idea of people getting sick and dying from COVID. All right, so here's what the threat is. So there was a lawmaker who said, basically, if you keep this on the books, what we'll do is we'll just completely dissolve. We'll completely dissolve this board. It'll no longer exist.
During a public health crisis?
During a public health crisis. That's what the threat was, okay? And so here's what happened. Jennifer Putnam, who's actually an attorney who works with the board, let them know, hey, Representative Reagan is saying, and yes, his last name is Reagan. Representative Reagan has done this in the past and he's followed through on it. And we need to be super careful because he will in fact dissolve this board if we keep this policy in place. In fact, here's her statement. Chairman Reagan also made clear he has no qualms about moving forward with dissolving the BME, that's the medical board, and reconstituting it with new members. He has in fact done this with another state agency, so it is not a hollow threat. And by the way, he said in a joint government he said the Joint Government Operations Committee has the authority to very seriously recommend dissolution, and he sets the agenda for the committee. So he says that he'll follow through with the threat, but claims that he can't unilaterally do it. It's just he can do it with the help of his committee. So basically, they got rid of a policy that's meant to protect people because they got threatened.
But they say they didn't.
But they say they didn't.
So I don't understand why they seem to be confused about what makes something a rule or not. If it is literally just having it on a web page, then I don't think that necessarily is going to be able to be used to take away their license. Do they not have an actual like printed out set of their rules, guidelines, regulations, anything like that? It's just whatever happens to be on the website at any given moment. If the website goes down, are there just no rules? It's chaos all of a sudden? And then of course, look, that's the minor point. The bigger point is that the side that says that we've politicized COVID is always exerting as much political influence as they can over this process. Not to guarantee better public health outcomes in terms of lower case counts and deaths and those sorts of things, but just making sure that the people that they've convinced that this isn't something you need to take seriously, you don't need to get vaccinated, you can just take whatever medicines just hanging around, that those people's feelings aren't hurt. And that is at the end of the day what this is about. The doctors want to be able to continue to spread misinformation that they can't demonstrate with actual studies. And we're not allowed to have higher standards for doctors administering care to people who might be getting sick with COVID than we do randos online giving the same misinformation on YouTube channels.
I don't know what you're talking about, John. We have the best healthcare in America. And that healthcare has helped to not prevent the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans during the coronavirus pandemic. And
see,
also,
I don't know if you're allowed to say that because I don't know if it's really a rule. Can you spread misinformation that's demonstrably untrue, or can you not? Because you just did.
Right. So as I mentioned, right. So the board says no. We did not rescind the policy. We just deleted it from the website. Representative John Reagan, the one who threatened the board, says no, it's absolutely rescinded. So the board was urged to vote specifically on whether or not they want to rescind the policy. And the board's like, no, we're not gonna do that. Because they're terrified. They're terrified of this lawmaker who has threatened them and threatened their jobs. That's how politics works in this country. You've got one side that's vicious and will stop at nothing to destroy you and destroy your career. And then you've got the other side that refuses to fight. And and by the way, I don't know what the political makeup of this medical board is, but I guarantee you they're terrified of losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Which is why they refuse to even vote on whether or not they're gonna rescind the policy in the first place. But like, guys, they want the misinformation out there because the misinformation helps them, create this
continue the COVID sort of centered culture war that we're in.
Not only the culture war, but it helps them to push people to be a lot more relaxed about this pandemic that's still killing a lot of people. And it's just frustrating because these are the people who are like, no censorship, we believe in freedom, except we don't. We don't when it comes to messaging that we disagree with.
Yeah, it's just cancel culture. And again, as I've always said, that is why we have to fight back against those sorts of constructs because they are just used for partisan ends.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.